everybody. Intuition here. Thank you as always for making time and space for us. Today, we would like to tackle a question that we see and hear a lot, and that is what happens when somebody takes their own life in a suicide? And that is an interesting question. But first, in order to answer that question, you would need to be familiar with the understanding of how death works. It is important to know how death works because if you do not understand that, then the rest of what it is that we're about to say is not going to make much sense. So we did a whole video on how people die. So we encourage you to have that point of reference because we are about to give you a very, very small, limited understanding of how we understand death to be right now. So when somebody dies, what death really is simply you are inherently a universal principality. You identify as one specific universal principality. There are 7 universal principalities. However, what happens is simply when you die, you are not holding your universal energy that you are grounded in universally. You are usually holding on to another universal principality's energy, and therefore you will die when that other universal principality comes to receive and retain the energy in which you have been holding on to. The example of if I am an alcoholic, right? An alcoholic, that is the energy of life or death. That is the energy of life or death, literally, because that is correspondent with overconsumption. The only universal principality that is able to deal with overconsumption is life or death. So if you are not the principality that identifies with life or death, and you are an alcoholic and drinking till the cows come home, so much so that you are deteriorating your body, then therefore when that universal principality comes to retain its energy, when it comes to receive it, to suck it back into itself, so to speak, and you being a different universal principality other than that of life or death is holding on to that energy of overconsumption because either you like holding on to it or because you have been holding on to it for so long that you forget what your own universal principality is. And then therefore, when that universal principality comes to take the energy which is rightfully theirs, not because it hates you, not because it wants to kill you, but simply because you've taken something that is not yours and it needs to take that which is theirs in order to continue being the universal principality that they inherently are. But again, regardless, when it comes to take that universal principality's energy, when life and death comes for you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die, but you might if you have mistaken your energy as that of the principality's energy of life and death. So as it comes to suck back in its energy, if you think you are the universal principality's energy of life or death, you will also allow yourself, your essence, to be sucked in with that universal principality's energy. And therefore you die because you will be disembodied. You, as the universal principality energy is taking that energy, you will think that you are a part of that energy and allow yourself to be sucked out. So the death blow will be you delivering it in some type of way to yourself because you are mistaken all it is that you are for something that you are not. And so then therefore, as you become disembodied, thinking that you are another universal principality to begin with, then there and therefore what happens is that that universal principality that is trying to take back its energy does not want you. It knows who they are. Apparently you forgot who you are. So what happens is, then therefore, as it's sucking back its energy, you will come out, try and be sucked in, but like oil and water in a cup, it will not sustain itself, and it will quickly kick you back out. So the life and death universal principality sucks back its energy. You are meandering in its energy, and it will kick you out of its universal principality because it doesn't need you. It just needs the energy that you took from it. And if you spend too much time floating around in that other universal principality's energy before that universal principality realized that it sucked you in with it, then you have just disembodied yourself and you've been without the body for too long, and then therefore the body dies. And then therefore you are disembodied and you can't get back into that body. Again, we've done a longer version of what death is, so if that is too short for your understanding, then please see yourself to the other video. But, so, going back to the idea of what happens when somebody takes their own life in a suicide. How we see that is, the idea is, the personality construct. The personality construct is not inherently you either. We would like to think that the personality is ourselves. We would like to think that we are the personality. However, that is the farthest thing, the most laughable thing, the most insane thing to think of, because the personality is based off of a clusterfuck of your worst ideas of the past, your worst traumas, your worst triggers. It is a bunch of memories superimposed on each other that become solidified, that then therefore inform your habits, that then therefore create behaviors, that then therefore creates a personality construct. So your personality then therefore is based on a cluster of images superimposed on top of each other that are informing you of different decisions in the present moment. Because you are not a bunch of superimposed images stacked on top of each other. You are not your memory of the past. You are you right now. That is all that really exists, literally and figuratively. So then, therefore, the personality is its own individualized identity apart from you. It seems like it's you because it's holding your images. It's telling you things that you heard, that you experienced in your life, but then it also needs to have those things in order to convince it that it is you, like a parasite. Like a hacker, right? Because the personality starts with you when you are very young. The personality will sit and talk to you. It will tell you things. It will give you a limited range of opportunities to choose from. You will have a really rough experience happen to you as a kid, and you will not understand what that experience means to you. And then therefore the personality structure will come in and say, well, don't worry about it, they're just assholes, that's why we can't trust anybody. Or, well, don't worry about it, you're just a piece of shit, there's something wrong with you, and therefore don't worry about it. And you, not knowing how to really synthesize and understand what it is that happened for you, and hearing those only two options, will choose one of those two options. But you did not create those two options. You would never think that of yourself, even as a child. And so then therefore, the personality is not really even you. It is something tricking you, making you think that it is you, but it is not you. Scary, isn't it? So, when you are over-identified with the personality, you are over-identified with images of the past that you believe is you, continuing to remind yourself of insane things that happened to you in the past. But it is not you because, as we said, you are not your memory. You are not a cluster of images that you are holding on to. And you surely would never be talking to yourself so crazily, so negatively, telling yourself shoulds, what's wrong with you, guilting you, all of these things. But your personality, something that is inherently not you, but needs you to exist, sure as shit would be telling you those things, because if it wasn't telling you those things, then that would give you an opportunity to make a decision for yourself, and then therefore you wouldn't need the personality, and then therefore the personality would have to die. And the personality does not want to die. It needs you to exist, but you do not need the personality to exist. And so then therefore, when somebody is deeply depressed, when somebody is deeply entangled in feelings, in memories of the past, then that means that they are grabbing onto an energy, over-identifying with an energy that is not theirs. Therefore, they're over-identifying with a universal principality that they have confused themselves for. Because again, as we said, the personality construct is not you, so then therefore it is another universal principality. So then therefore, you are entangling your energy with a universal principality that is not yours. So, because you become so identified with that voice that is not yours, you knowing that there's something wrong, but you don't know what it is, because after a while, if you only identify with one voice, you stop hearing your own voice, and you knowing that something is wrong, and hearing that voice over and over and over again, but knowing that it is not you, but thinking that it must be you because I don't hear anybody else in here. because the personality voice is so loud, is so crazy, is so neurotic, uses so many tactics to get your attention, like the images of the past, like the voices of the people who have hurt you, and a bunch of feelings to throw at you, that all become so visceral, so real for you, that you identify with that as opposed to identifying with your own true voice, and then therefore, you feel like there is nothing left for you to do because the personality keeps on running you around in circles and memories of the past, so then therefore you make decisions of the past that put you in the past, and you see that your life is not going anywhere because you keep on ending up in the past because all you see is the past, and you feel, I have to get out of here. What is the point? Let me just end it. But that is not what they inherently want to do. It is more of their over-identification and entanglement with the personality construct that gets in the way of them hearing what it is that their voice is actually saying to them. And because that is all that they hear, they get lost. And as they get lost, the personality becomes very insidious and crazy. And then you no longer want to play the game anymore. And so you kill yourself. So that is how we understand what it means to take your own life and why that happens to certain individuals. Because they get lost in the personality's lens and over-identify with the personality's lens. And after a while, as you continue to allow that to make decisions for you, as after a while that's the only voice you hear, you stop hearing your own voice, you stop hearing anybody else's voice, and all you are able to identify with is your past. And your past really holds nothing for you because it's an illusion to begin with. Even though it did happen to you, it is not happening to you in the moment in the way that the personality is trying to inflict it on you. And so then therefore you lose yourself. And as you lose yourself, you feel like you cannot find yourself. And if you feel like you cannot find yourself, then you are lost. And then therefore, what is the point? So that is how we see what happens when somebody kills themselves. But it is them just killing their self, the self. It is not them truly dying, because they will never be able to actually kill all it is that they are. That is impossible. They're just killing the self in which they over-identified with, which is usually the idea of the personality self. Regardless, though, it doesn't take away that it is painful and traumatizing and horrifying for the individuals that are left in the wake of somebody taking their life. So, again, this is how we understand what it means when somebody takes their life. It is the over-identification with the personality construct, which is inherently another principality to begin with. And then, therefore, the importance of realizing and knowing genuinely what the personality is, because it is not you. But if you think it's you, then you really start limiting yourself in the choices that you're able to make in everyday life. Because if you allow the past to make present-day decisions for you, you will always run around in a circle and not be able to be all it is that you are, or remember all it is that you inherently have always been. You simply start believing that you're something else, and getting lost in a belief and forgetting what it is that you know. So, we leave you with this. This is a lot for anybody to take in. We wish you well, as always, and we're full of gratitude for making space and time for us.